Everyone is talking about Dusan Vlahovic, but people are forgetting about my boy Luka Jovic, and honestly, I might take him over Vlahovic, and here's why. A little background on him. He burst onto the scene at Red Star Belgrade. He went to Benfica to play in Portugal, and then his career really took off when he went to Eintracht Frankfurt. And at Eintracht Frankfurt, he was playing in a 3-5-2, playing with a pairing. He was playing with Sebastian Haller at the time. Now, the reason he fit into that team so well, the Eintracht Frankfurt system, is because he's so good at playing with his back to goal. Eintracht Frankfurt played a 3-5-2. They built out the back slowly, but then once they got further up the pitch, very quick vertical passes into strikers and ping it back out wide. They were a team that used their wider fullbacks, the wingbacks, to whip crosses in. But in order to get up the pitch, they utilized their strikers to come down, check to the ball, play with their back to goal, and then spray it wide. And that's where Luka Jovic really stands out to me. His ability to play with his back to goal, and then ultimately find his teammates further forward. He's a very good passer of the ball. So when we look at these stats, I'm not going to consider the past 2 seasons because he's played literally only a handful of games, maybe 5-6 matches in the past 2 seasons for Real Madrid with COVID and everything. But when he was on loan at Eintracht Frankfurt from Real Madrid, so he went to Real Madrid, didn't play much. He went back on loan to Eintracht Frankfurt. He completed 85% of his long passes. Now that's outstanding for a striker. He reminds me of Harry Kane in that way, of his ability to come back, drop into midfield really, turn, and then find his players in behind or find his players further forward. Now we can also see this when we look at his heat map. As you see here, look, he likes to drop into midfield. In the box as well though, he's a threat. So Eintracht Frankfurt, like I was saying, are a team that like to play with their wingbacks high and wide, and then they whip crosses in. And he's a great finisher in the box. And this is another thing I like. He can strike the ball. He can utilize both feet just as good as one another. He's fantastic with his left foot. He's fantastic with his right foot. And he strikes the ball very hard. He strikes through the ball every time. He's a very powerful striker. But one thing I did notice about his shooting percentage is that in 2018-19, he was hitting the target about 40% of the time. But more recently, when he went back on loan to Eintracht Frankfurt, it dropped to around 25% over the past 2 seasons. So it's going down, but I think that has to do somewhat with a lack of match time. I think we have to talk about, like, he hasn't been in the squad. He hasn't been given the confidence. Real Madrid brought him in for who knows what reason. But I think it goes to show Real Madrid brought Luka Jovic in because they didn't believe in Karim Benzema for a second. They thought Karim Benzema was getting old. They spent 60 million on the next striker, but King Benz wasn't leaving. He's one of the best strikers in the world. So he's literally just been in the shadow, not playing at Real Madrid. Now, he's also very good in the air. Aerial duels won over the past year. He's in the 76th percentile, which kind of alludes to what leagues and teams I think he'll be successful in. So let's take a look at what size he might fit into. Honestly, he's a fantastic striker coming down to the ball. Like I said, I think he could fit into a lot of sides, but there's a few that I have in mind. The first one being AC Milan. I think they have an aging striker core. You know, Ibrahimovic, Giroud. They don't have like an out-and-out striker for the future. I think they should be looking at him. I think he could potentially leave Real Madrid for a lot less than they bought him. And I think he kind of fits their system in terms of they're a team that like to use their fullbacks as well. Theo Hernandez getting forward, Calabria getting forward, whipping the ball in. I think he would fit that system very well. Now, the second kind of league I want to look at is the Premier League because I think physically he's there. He can fit into the Premier League. Tottenham, Arsenal, both those sides should be looking at him. Antonio Conte, kind of similar to Lukaku in his hold-up play, in his ability to hold up the ball. In terms of Arsenal, a perfect replacement for Lacazette, someone who likes to play with his back to goal, fantastic link player. It kind of just makes sense. The third team in the Premier League is very unrealistic, but it's Brighton. They play great football. They use their strikers. Neil Mope hasn't been firing on all cylinders for them. There's been a lot of links to different strikers, maybe recruiting another one in. They like to play into the strikers' feet as well. Brighton is a shout. Not very realistic, but an interesting one. The final league is probably the Bundesliga. I mean, that's where he was on fire for Eintracht Frankfurt. Would he go back to Frankfurt? I'm not sure. But Borussia Dortmund could be an option if Haaland leaves. That's kind of a realistic, easy link there. So I think the Bundesliga in general is a great league for him. It's physical, but he can handle that. They like to play aggressive attacking football. I think that fits him. But I would like to see him in the Premier League because he's one of my favorite strikers. Now, would I honestly take him right now over Vlahovic? Maybe not because Vlahovic is banging in goals. But Luka Jovic should not be forgotten because he has all the qualities to be a top striker. And if he leaves Real Madrid, he will get back on track and he will fulfill his potential. I'm 100% sure about that. This has been FTBL Scouts. I'm your boy Kid Pesh. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below letting us know where you think Luka Jovic might fit in. Premier League, Bundesliga, let us know. I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.